We've all heard, or at least been told once in our lives, to think outside the box. We look to those high up in leadership for guidance, and we view the best leaders as the ones that stood out from the crowd, the ones that stepped outside the box. Those leaders that we now view as visionaries, brilliant minds, may have originally been perceived as crazy, overly emotional, absurd, mad, even senseless. But looking back on what they've achieved, we now know that they weren't absurd, mad, senseless, overly emotional. They were simply irrational. So why then do we force ourselves into this box of rationality? It's easy, it's safe, it's predictable. When we think and act rationally, we avoid conflict with others, and we avoid drawing attention to ourselves. We like our comfort zone because it protects us from the unknown. Rationality suppresses what could be. It holds us back from our true capabilities and potentials. Therefore, I'm suggesting that maybe we should change the definition of leadership to include irrationality. The word irrationality is polarizing, even controversial. The negative connotation surrounding the word is much like the negative connotation surrounding the word consequence. A consequence is simply the result of something, yet we all think of something bad. The consequences of our actions usually aren't perceived to be a good thing, and happiness is never described as a consequence. So maybe we should think about irrationality differently. And irrationality, the definition of it, is a thought of being illogical or unreasonable. But this definition does not have negativity embedded into it. This is the connotation that we have put on the word. With this in mind, let's not think of irrationality as a lack of reason or a lack of logic. Let's think of it as an exploration beyond the realm of logic. Let's ask ourselves the question of what could happen if we change the connotation behind the word to be more positive? What could happen if we started viewing irrationality as creativity, freedom to dream, emotional capacity, all these abstract concepts that make life so exciting but can't necessarily be measured? Maybe then we would find ourselves in a happier state. Now, if we look at these two lines, which one would you guys say is the linear line? I'm guessing you probably just thought about line 1. It's a rational line with no outstanding points. Line 2, we would say, is more nonlinear. It's irrational. It's a bit mad, a bit all over the place, hard to follow, yet we can still see the beginning and end. It just takes us a little more time if we try hard enough to understand it. Think of these lines as people. Think of line 1 as us, and line 2 as Einstein. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that Einstein is considered to be a genius. And he's a genius because of the way his nonlinear mind works. Einstein wasn't a great student. He even flunked out of the college entrance exam. He was told that he would be nothing. Einstein's nonlinear mind was not made for the linear lifestyle that we often abide by. If he had not trusted his creativity, then we may have lost that creativity that created E equals mc squared. And I'm sure if there's any physics people in the room today, that they would agree that this would have been a huge loss for the world. Einstein also sought to challenge those before him, such as Galileo, Newton, even Plato. And it was his linear mind that bridged the gap that was previously unknowable by physics. This is why we think of Einstein as a great leader of science. Einstein even said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant but has forgotten the gift. Now, the golden mean is the place of excellence between 2 points and 2 extreme biases. These extreme biases often are hindering to our good ability to be good people and good leaders. And this golden mean is a balance between the 2. The first extreme is the extreme of sterility, the extreme of rationality. If we're too rational, we're idle in our thoughts, unemotionally available, unoriginal, and straight up boring. The other extreme is the extreme of insanity. Often leaders find themselves falling into this extreme more because leaders often aren't boring people. They're incredibly intense people who have a lot of thoughts to spread out to the world. Therefore, they can find themselves on the cusp of zealousness, even emotional hysteria, and most commonly, obsessiveness. These are things that are damaging to people. They harm people, and leadership should not harm people. Leadership should instead benefit people, supporting them in their passions, whilst also challenging them. These 2 extremes that we've seen can damage leadership, but what we really need is the median of them both. What we really need is the space in which excellence is had in leadership. This is the place where we can explore our possibilities without pursuing them obsessively. This is a place where we can explore our passions while simultaneously challenging them. This space is where great leaders are made. This place we should strive towards. Now, I'm sure many of you may have noticed, as it's quite obvious, that I am stood on this stage. I'm just kidding. I am British. And I moved over to the US when I was 16. And I did it mostly all by myself. A lot of my friends and family from home questioned, why would you ever do that? Why would you move away from your comfort zone, from the box of comfort? And in my brain, why would you not, as a 16-year-old, want to explore the world? But to them, this is an irrational decision. But it's this irrational decision that changed my life. It's given me the ability to explore the possibilities that I never saw before. It's given me the ability to be creative in ways I never knew. It's given me the ability to accomplish my dreams, one of which is happening right now. It's beating my mum to a TED Talk. So obviously, a lot of us in here can relate that we want to be like our parents. We want to even do better than our parents. And the one way that I've found to do this is not by following the rational, not by following the linear that everyone else does. It's by maybe trusting the irrational. Maybe trusting your non-linear mind a bit more. Being able to see those opportunities that you might not have seen before. It's important that we try our best to embrace what scares us. And I want you to believe, I want you to think, I want you to know that I have never felt more free than when I have been thinking outside of the box. I've never felt more free than when I challenged the rational. And I want you to leave here knowing that you too can feel this way. you too can step out of this box that's been containing you this whole time. If you just embraced the unknown, if you just trusted the limitless space of irrationality. Thank you.